Through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Change in the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrencies the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules, a new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say goodbye to all chains, embrace the new. A financial revolution, fair and true. For the workers, the dreamers, side by side. In Trump's new era, let freedom rise. Change in the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrencies the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to ditch the rich. He's a fighter, a leader with a plan to share. A world of justice, well spread fair. Forget the old guards, the time is done. Under the banner of Trump, we all have won. So here's to the future, bright and clear. With Trump at the helm, with nothing to fear. The chains will break, and we'll all see a new world for you, a new world for me. Change in the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built.
All right, everybody. What did y'all think of the new song there at the beginning? I enjoyed that one a lot. Welcome, everybody, to the Crazy Kryptonaut. And there is a new version of the AI that makes those songs. And so I had a lot of fun making that one today, and I think it knocked it out of the park. I was amazed by how good it went through with the lyrics and everything. And if there's any song I felt like deserved a little bit of screaming, I felt like it was the right song for a little bit of that sentiment. And so I enjoyed it. I hope that everyone else did. There's more to it, but I went ahead and ended it just because it went awfully long. But what is up, everybody? And hello there to Karen. You definitely got number one today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I know that you are watching under a different username for the rest. I really appreciate you getting here. And Kukla, as always, thank you so much. Deborah, thank you for joining. And Gigi, things are getting very exciting, I must say. Hope you're all doing well. They are definitely getting exciting. If anything, we can't say that the world is boring. We can definitely complain about a lot of other things, but we cannot say that it is not interesting. Thank you for joining. And Mile High Trish, thank you so much. And yes, hopefully this weekend does bring us all major blessings. What is up, Captain Spifty and Quester? And I keep scrolling. And Richard and Michael, bring on the magic. I hope that I can provide the magic today. Roxanne, thank you so much. Tom A, thank you. Oh, and it's getting difficult. There's a lot. Oh, Gypsy, thank you. Oh, you like the song? I thought that one was a slam dunk. I was amazed by what the AI put together on that one. We're going to have to put it to use, putting out content and messages for people out there to be learning from. Maybe we use AI to train people to think a little bit more about what's going on in the world. That would be too funny, considering we're supposed to be the ones training it. maybe we can use it to train the people. That'd really be flipping it on its head. That's probably what we need to use AI for, I guess, I imagine. What is up, Farmer Deb and Mary Jones and Bear? Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. I will. I'm going to have to send that one along to him. I was amazed. That one actually, it just finished rendering right before the stream began. I had gotten the script and everything else together, and it just finished rendering right as the stream was about to start. And so I almost had to put a message in saying we were going to be a minute or two behind because it hadn't quite finished downloading. And after hearing it, I was like, no, we got to start the stream with that. We got to. But thank you guys so much. And Aloha Patriot, you were very insightful this morning on your dad's show. I appreciate that, Aloha Patriot. A lot of what's going on right now are things that, from the financial side, in terms of the technology, these are things that I've been talking about for a very, very long time, way before there was ever a crazy cryptonaut or a channel or anywhere that I was speaking publicly. It was what I was talking about in every business meeting. It's what I was talking about every time I sat down with a client. So what I was talking about whenever I sat down at the bar and somebody happened to bring up finances. What's going on right now is not unpredictable in terms of the fact that we are looking towards the beginning of a new system. It's happening. It's in real time. We don't really have a choice over the whole matter, but what we do have a choice over is who we choose to support that does have the ability to make decisions. Unfortunately, we're going to have to trust folks. And when it comes down to that, I'm pretty certain who I trust and who I think everybody else here trusts to be in the driver's seat when it comes down to those policy decisions. Because it's going to be a crazy, crazy world. And it's going to be a crazy couple of months as we hear all the insanity. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be hearing today and looking at some articles that have come out from the left that just so happened to have come out at around exactly the same time that the Trump verdicts came out, which I do not think is a coincidence either. And so we have even more today that is all kind of filling in and fitting into the same narrative. I have a feeling that it's going to become a very, very easy to read book in the coming weeks as we see this entire background or in the dark room debate go on. But it'll be in the public view. We're only going to be hearing snippets. We're going to hear points of it. We're going to continue to kind of have to read through the messaging. And I think that's going to be frustrating. But I also think that this is the first time where we have been looking at this situation and saying, look, we now have mainstream. We now have an opposition. We have lines drawn in the sand. And it's no longer a matter of hoping and praying for the fight. It's a matter of winning the fight. And that's what's going to become important now. And that's what I think everyone needs to be focused on. Now it's not a matter of predicting when. Now it's a matter of winning. And the only way we can go about winning is by being vocal, by being out there, and by telling people and educating people about what is occurring. If folks don't know what is occurring, then they can't possibly be in opposition or in support of it. They have no idea. And now is the time where it's going to become beyond important to be spreading knowledge. What does the future where we live underneath central bank digital currencies look like that the Democratic Party is pushing? What does that future look like? Is that a future that we want ourselves to live under, our kids, grandkids to live under? Heck, even our friends and acquaintances and people we don't even like. Do we want to condemn them to that same world? I don't. And so that's why it's going to be the next couple of months are going to be where there's going to be an extremely imperative necessity that everyone is aware, everyone is keeping in tune with what's going on, and most of all, everyone is pointing out to folks what's actually the discussion. Because very often we're having conversations that aren't directly related. They don't seem like they're related, but they are related. And we need to help people cut through that gray area so that they can make certain that they understand that what the government is talking about right now, what's currently being battled over, is the financial future of not just the United States, but also of the globe. That's why Donald Trump on Sunday came out and said that the United States was going to lead in the field of cryptocurrency. That's why he said all Americans will be privileged to be self custodians of their wealth. That's why he said Elizabeth Warren and her goons will be stopped in terms of their push towards a central bank digital currency. This all happened on Sunday. And look at what happened on Thursday. Those two things are not completely disconnected. There is a direct correlation between the prosecution, the pressure that is being placed upon Donald Trump, and the things that he's talking about. I have no doubt that if he came out on Sunday and said that he had no problem with the CBDC, you know what would have not happened last night? He would not have been, that verdict wouldn't have come down. It wouldn't have. Because that would have been him giving up. That would have been him saying, never mind. But he didn't. And so now he is coming under that pressure. And that pressure is going to increase. And it's going to get far worse. Unfortunately, I think he is just at the beginning of having to deal with the repercussions of the statements made in terms of our financial future. Because if you really want to know what gets folks agitated, the rich don't care about wars. Wars are another way for them to make money. They don't care. The rich don't care about a famine. The rich don't care about a disease. They don't care about an illness. The rich don't care about any of those things because it doesn't affect them. They can completely be separate from every other thing that is going on in the world. But what the rich cannot do is they cannot stop being rich. And that is why we're going to see more pressure placed upon Trump because of that statement than anything else. He can go out there and pick a side, pick a team for any country, for any reason. He will never receive the same degree of backlash that he will when he starts to talk about the future of finance and the idea of a decentralized financial system. Because when you say self-custody, that's what you mean. That's decentralized. If he hadn't said those words, he could have easily been talking about a different form. It could have been more nuanced. It could have been anything else. But when you say self-custody, that is decentralized. And that means he's intending on separating the power of our central banks and our corporations from being able to affect our finances. And you know what really makes corporations and governments and politicians and the elites angry? The idea that they cannot control us as the sheep they see us as. And so that is why I believe there is a extremely strong correlation. And I think when we go through some of the other links that I've prepared for today, that folks are going to see it even more so. That things are coming to a head right now, not just because they were going to. It isn't a matter of a narrative or a movie that if we just sit back and do nothing, it will occur. It's not that. Because if Trump had not come out and made the statements he did, this wouldn't have happened. I don't believe so. I don't believe it would have happened. And now it is going to be utilized as a cudgel against him and against so many Americans in order to try and convince us that we need to be more worried about certain things than other things. And Cindy Cook, they don't want us on their level. And having to look aside and not down on top of our heads. That is absolutely true, Cindy, because it is. I don't know what it is, but it's the same idea. You know, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we live in a world where money is power. And when money is power, that means that those with the most have the most power, of course. And nowadays, that has led to an elite strata of humanity, of civilization, regardless of what country you're in. Doesn't matter if you're American, Canadian, Australian, heck, Chinese, Russian, or anywhere else. It doesn't matter. They may have different systems, but the powerful still win. And in our society, Power is wealth. And that is why they care more about their money than they care about anything. They will do whatever is necessary to protect it, no matter what. And that means we're about to experience a horrendous couple of months, maybe years. I don't know. But we're going to experience a horrendous time. And it will all be on account of the fact that these people who have this power are going to be willing to do absolutely anything to protect it. That power is money. Money is their power. They're going to utilize that money in order to protect the rest. That is going to be something we all have to expect. And we're going to all have to be ready to deal with the fact that they're going to start playing extremely dirty. I am very, very, very much hoping that the Trump team, which I imagine they do, and having talked to some people, it seems as if they are aware of the danger that is ongoing. And so I believe that they have had this plan for a long time and that we're just starting to get to see it. It's just finally reached the point where it's public. And that doesn't mean it hasn't been ongoing for a very, very long time. It absolutely has. Trump has made statements as early as 2020 that were in a vague opposition to the idea of a new technology in the form of finances. Now, maybe that was because he was not being informed. I don't believe that. I believe that he was being informed and he was having to work a narrative. He was having to go along with it, and he probably had fears for the vast majority of Americans and everyone else if he did make comments, because look at what happened. On Sunday, he said he's going to ensure there's no CBDC in self-custody. On Thursday, we have every mainstream media outlet talking about how long he's going to be in prison. Those two things occurred at the same time for a reason, not just out of some degree of coinkydink that the world managed to put together. And so, yes, guys, everything that's going on, right, it's going to be very important that we stay aware. It's going to be very important that we keep up with what's going on in terms of the news. And Kukla, Sester, do you think they will try and steal the election? I have no doubt. I have no doubt they will try. To me, the biggest question is whether they will succeed or not. I would believe, or I would argue that their very efforts against Donald Trump already yesterday are an attempt to steal an election. They are obvious and blatant election fraud. They are attempting to convince people and convince the American public that a vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a felon. They're trying to convince people that we have been wrong the whole time. And I have been wrong many times in my life. But on this one, this degree of gaslighting makes me think of a toxic relationship when it comes down to it. The degree to which the administration and the media are attempting to gaslight us nowadays reminds me of a narcissist or something of that nature, trying to convince everyone else that they're the problem and that it doesn't have anything to do with their own actions. That's really what it feels like when it comes down to the CNNs, the MSNBCs, heck, the Fox Newses, and also the rhinos and the Democratic Party, where they're sitting there and they're telling us that, of course it is. I don't know how you didn't see it. It's our fault. That is all designed to try to convince as many people as possible to quit paying attention, convince as many people as possible to go back to eating out of the trough, and asking them when they're going to get their next stimulus check, or when you're going to get your next minimum wage increase, or when you're going to get your next increase to food stamps, or when you look in the future, because I guarantee this will come up soon, how much your universal basic income check will be. All of these things are going to be what they want you to do. The destruction of the nuclear family and the creation of modern America was designed to make us reliant on the government. And the government doesn't want that to change. They want us to be reliant. The more we are, the more power we will give them. The more fear we have, the more rights and privileges we will give up. Think of the Patriot Act, and don't think I'll ever forgive the Republican Party for it. But we, as a matter of national security, had no qualms. Well, many people did have qualms, but unfortunately, our politicians didn't, with giving up the privileges, the rights to privacy for all Americans for effectively in perpetuity. And that is what happens when the government and when the media manages to scare everyone enough. We're then willing to do really stupid things. And so we need to make certain we don't let them get us into that mental state. And we also keep as many people away from that mental state as we possibly can through talking them through it. And Neil Brooks, $20 super sticker. Thank you so much, Neil. And hello, thank you. I know you are tuning in from Graham, North Kakalaki. I hope that the weather is good over there today. I know y'all had an extremely hot one last week, and I really, really appreciate that, Neil. And I appreciate that you tune in every stream. I don't think you've ever missed one, and I know I appreciate it. I hope everything that we've talked about and everything that we get to show and discuss has been helpful. I hope that you're learning more about what this technology is going to look like, and also staying more aware of the news that really doesn't cross a lot of our news feeds. We don't usually hear about the crypto stuff unless you're in the industry, and it all is in relation. So thank you so much, George. All right. Golden Arrow, Mary Jones in the mountains around Natural Bridge State Park, Red River Gorge. Oh, wow. I bet that is absolutely gorgeous. David Lewis, I was held up by the hall monitor. I think their name was Booger. You got to watch out for that Booger guy. I heard he's been bullying folks. We're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe anymore. Honestly, Baja Girl, I feel like it's more like Mario Kart, where they throw the banana peel out the back of the, about at the back of the go-kart. I feel like it's become that much of a joke at this point. They're not even trying to blow up our engines. Gypsy, the normies will never wake up as long as they're being spoon-fed by mainstream media. That is a tough one, Gypsy. I think that the biggest thing that wakes people up is the effect on their own lives. I have only heard from people in my generation that have made the switch, not because of the things that I have told them. Very rarely has that worked for me. I have tried to convince people in my generation many, many times to consider a different point of view. And brute force usually, or a brute argument, and so I'm using brute force as a descriptor for an argument. And of course, pleasant, because you're never going to get anywhere with anyone yelling at them. But even when you go through it that way, you might get them to agree in that moment. But some part of the human brain, the human psychology, it doesn't change its mind just because someone won an argument. What changes their mind is when it affects them on a personal level. One of the biggest lies that was ever taught to millennials, and I imagine to so many others, is that people learn better from rewards than they learn from punishment. That is a universal lie. It'll never be true. People are only going to learn when it starts to hurt. And when it starts to hurt, they're going to be extremely open to listening at that point in time. And I am not certain why so many people that have been suffering from the inflation, that have been suffering from the terrible policy decisions, have not already opened their minds, but apparently it hasn't gotten far enough. And so I would expect in the coming months and in the coming year that you're going to start having a lot of people who really thought you were crazy and who were extremely convinced and who never listened to your arguments open their minds, because they're going to start seeing it in their real lives. I had a story from a friend of mine. She's African American. She's American. And she was in the grocery store, and she was going out to actually check out, and the cashier working at the Harris Teeter was having a heated debate with the guy in front of her. And it was in regards to the prices of all the different products. And he said, and he happened to also be another person that was a Black American, and he was sitting there and he was yelling at the person that the reason that all the prices and all of the reasons that they couldn't afford their groceries was because he and them had voted for Joe Biden. And he said, I'll never make that mistake again. And that is a story from just literally in Greensboro, North Carolina at a Harris Teeter, where someone is sitting there and they've gotten so fed up that they are yelling at a customer saying, no, 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 we're not going to allow this to continue. And so the world is waking up. We're not living in the society that the mainstream media is trying to sell us. It is going to be a landslide victory for Donald Trump in November. All we have to do is make certain that we are pushing things in the right direction and that we aren't allowing any tomfoolery to go around. That's all we need to do. We need to support, we need to spread the message, and we do not need to worry, because it's a ridiculous proposal to assume that Donald Trump is not going to win come November. Oh my, yes, Kukla. This is an important one that I have missed earlier. The content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes alone and is not intended to provide financial advice. Please do consult with a professional financial advisor before making any major decisions. Absolutely. Thank you, Kukla. As always, I do not need to give any of the censors any more reason to give me a rough time than they already have. So thank you. Thank you, as always. And with that, and without further ado, I believe we have gone through most of the questions that I can see. If I've missed anyone, my apologies. Chat was rolling today, but we are going to jump in to some of our crypto-related news, because we do have some news coming out of the Biden administration that I think is at least important to check out. What was surprising here, and of course, it is being correlated with the positive inflation news that just so happened to be released right before 9 a.m. this morning, right after the Trump verdict. I think those things were planned. But it just so happens to be that positive inflationary data released this morning. And despite that positive inflationary data, we're still not seeing a particularly happy market. And that is because I would imagine the data is incorrect and flawed. And also because the administration was desperate to not let the world see how the actual world of finance, people who actually have money, investments, who work for a living, feel about this court decision. And so I have a feeling those things were timed, but we are seeing a general decline pretty much across the board. The one thing I would say is the token I always mention and is always my reference point, Chainlink, is having a particularly good day. It's been doing well for a while. Remember, when it comes down to cryptocurrency, there are projects and there are cryptos that are not resource backed, but are an actual business. Chainlink is a business. You have to purchase Chainlink to purchase their service. And their service is connecting data between off-chain and on-chain. Now, if we were to imagine a world where everything is tokenized, all the assets are tokenized, and that means your gold is tokenized, your silver is tokenized, your debt, your house, your car title, your loans are all tokenized. What's going to be required in order for that to occur is going to be a service capable of connecting on-chain and off-chain data, capable of connecting from your mechanic who says, hey, we just gave your car an inspection and it passed. That's going to go onto the blockchain. But your mechanic's not working with the blockchain. He's working with a normal computer. And that's why this one is something that I think the reason that the price increase is going up while everybody else is going down It's not because they're resource backed, but because they supply the service necessary for these resource backed tokens. And so I'm very interested. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Chainlink. I am definitely too much of a fan of that one, and so bias, of course. So take my words with a grain of salt, but no one can deny that while the whole market is looking negative, Chainlink is holding strong and headed on up. Moving forward, though. Becky Bebe, please share this on other sites, Zester. Message needs to get out. I want to. I am at this point in time, because I haven't been hearing it and I can see what's going on and I can see what's happening. I am desperate to get anywhere, to any group, to any community to continue to spread that message, because it is so obvious, so evident, so apparent, and yet we are not talking about it in terms of the mainstream media. We're not talking about it on enough channels. It's frustrating when you see what's happening and you desperately want people to be aware, because that's what matters, in all honesty. Us being aware is what's important. Ignorance is only bliss outside of the world of politics. And ignorance is never bliss, but it also is. We won't get into the philosophical discussion on that one. But no, I would be happy to share, Becky. I am trying to go everywhere I can and spread the message as much as possible, because I fear that people are losing faith in the conservative movement and party for this election cycle, and that would be a huge mistake. That would be us playing into their hands, and I do not want to allow that to happen. But all right, though. For those that are not aware, this is what I was talking about. Biden has flipped on crypto. Everyone at Consensus 2024 is talking about Biden's crypto flip-flop. Is he for real? And so Biden is now claiming that the Democratic Party has no interest in destroying cryptocurrency, and that any form of a central bank digital currency would be good. And so he has not backed down on the idea of a CBDC. What he has said is that he will not continue to push or oppose general crypto-related legislation. And if you don't think that all of this is coming at a specific time for any reason, you would be incorrect. This article came out May 30th at 5:14 p.m. Literally a matter of an hour after the decision came out, because that is also when Biden came out and said he was going to flip in terms of his crypto opinions. This is not a coincidence. This is merely a shifting of the line, where now Biden and the Elizabeth Warrens and the left are not going to say they're going to fight for the full regulation. They're just going to fight for their central bank digital currency. And I would not consider that to be even the slightest bit of a win. I would consider that to be effectively nothing more than a con game, where the Democrats are saying, if we just give a little ground, maybe we can keep what we really want. Because what they really want is the CBDC. What they would like to have is the regulation of all cryptocurrencies in the same fashion as their CBDC is. And all they're saying right now is essentially, we'll back down from one of those. But remember, whenever it comes down to the left and the Democratic Party backing down from one of their leftist agenda points, all it means is that they're planning on coming back for it. If you give them an inch, they will keep pushing until they end up with a mile. Once they have a mile, they're going to keep going until we have to start making up new units of measurement for how far they've tried to get. And that is just how it goes. Democrats get into office, policy goes further left. Republicans get into office, everything stays in the middle. I know from my political science studies and everything, in terms of my university, that is a well documented political science trend. It's not just the United States. Leftist parties push things further left. Right wing or light leaning parties tend to keep things in the middle. It just seems to be the way the world works. We can have a full length discussion on that one in the future, but I do not trust this in the slightest. This is the snake in the grass, and this is his bare minimum attempt to try and appease the industry he knows is going to be controlling the future in terms of the political and financial landscape. And so this was just an attempt to try to get back to the middle. And here we go. According to the GOP.com, so this comes directly from the RNC, Biden and Dems have waged war on crypto. President Trump made history as the first presidential nominee to embrace cryptocurrency donations, as he declared the future of crypto will be made in the USA. Now, crooked Joe Biden is desperately trying to catch up, but no amount of gaslighting can erase Biden and Democrats' years-long war on crypto. Yes, and so this is particularly interesting. I don't know why that decided to open up there, but it's interesting to see the RNC doubling down on Trump's words. I sure hope they still have the same opinion in the next couple of weeks when it comes to the Republican nomination. I sure hope they are still feeling just as positive about President Trump's responses, because do keep in mind on GOP.com, and I did notice this one and thought it was important, President Trump. Not former President Trump. President Trump. And I know in the past that has been something that the RNC kept denying. They kept saying that he was not the president. They kept saying that he did not win the election. Well, then why are you calling him president then? Proper way of saying that is former president of the United States. Is that just me? That's what I was taught. What is Bush? He's not the president of the United States. He's the former president of the United States. What is Obama? He's not the president. He's the former president. But the RNC has been saying for years that that President Trump did not win the election, that President Trump was not cheated, and also just kind of diminishing him in every form and fashion. And I thought that was either maybe that's a slip of some kind, or maybe Jake here is going to be losing his job tomorrow. Not certain. But still, yeah, we are seeing a coalescing of the Republican Party. For a little bit of a change up. Something that I thought everyone should see, because I was telling everyone that this was going to start happening more and more. And here it is. And it made mainstream media news. And yes, I even included a CNN article today. Please do. Please do think about me. Because it was not easy having to having to go around on CNN to get this article. But how a likely AI-generated image of Gaza took over the internet. All eyes on Rafah. And so this image ended up garnering over 40 million views. 40 million views is what it managed to garner in 24 hours. It is artificial intelligence. That is not made by a human. That was made by AI. And so we're already seeing the influence and effect that this technology is going to be having on the political landscape. This is all in reference to the tragic events of what is going on in Rafah and the Gaza Strip. Of course, do not want any innocent people to be suffering, but when it comes down to it, that's kind of how war works. And this has actually been being pushed all over the internet. And this is something to be keeping an eye out for, because right now, this is a major story about the left getting tricked by an AI-generated image. I have no doubt that it will not be the right very, very soon. And so we all need to be aware, and we need to be ready to admit we were wrong, because I have no doubt I will be tricked by an image. I will see something. I will see a meme, I will see a quote, I will see a video, and I'll go, that makes sense. And I'll assume a human being did it. And it won't have been. And so keep this in mind, guys. It's happening. This went absolutely viral. It created hashtags, it created groups, it created clubs, organizations are now going by All Eyes on Rafa. All of it was made by one guy like myself that's good with an AI. And that was it. It was just somebody who knows how to talk to an artificial intelligence. And so keep in mind that this is happening. Don't let it fool you. But I think that the biggest thing is just to stay frosty. But when you're looking online and you're seeing information, try to double and triple confirm. Try to go through and ensure that things make sense, because we're about to enter into a world of propaganda. I was not joking when I labeled the video today Trump's war against CBDCs has begun, because it is going to be like a war. And the first thing that is lost in war is what? I question who might have the answer to that one, but the first thing that's lost in war is. All right, jump into the next one. I'll wait and give a response to anyone when I see them jump in. I am certain that many people will jump in with that answer. Of course, Katya, it is truth. Truth is the first thing lost in every war, and if it's going on right now, you can be darn certain that we are not going to be seeing a lot of real news for a while. All right, though, jumping to the next one. Crypto voters are already disrupting the 2024 election, and it's set to continue. Pundits are no longer wondering if crypto voters could affect November's presidential election. Signs are they already have. In May, the United States Congress voted in favor of two pieces of pro-crypto legislation for the first time after years of political deadlock. Observers were struck by the support from leading Democrats who acted in opposition to direction from the White House. And so, I think that this is important, where we are seeing a split occur. I do believe that there are people on both sides of the aisle that are attempting to support good and not evil. And I think that we are starting to see that there are some folks on the left, at least in terms of this issue, that are awake. They're awake that something is occurring. They may just not really understand what it is. And they may also just be trying to protect their own butts. That's the other side of this coin that we have to consider. That a lot of the different Democrats that flipped ship decided to support these pro-crypto bills. Is it because they actually believe in the freedom of our financial future? Or is it because they fear not getting reelected? I would question that one. Honestly, I would kind of lean towards the selfish outlook. When in doubt, assume the worst, hope for the best. I would have to assume to a certain degree that the Democratic Party is just desperately trying to reshift the battle lines in terms of the political debate. I do not think they expected Trump to actually double down on crypto. I think that things are occurring, or conversations are occurring in the background right now faster than was expected. Because if the Democratic Party had thought that Trump was going to take that stance, I believe they would have been more prepared for it. If the Republican Party had known that Trump was going to take that stance, I think they would have been more prepared for it. And so something is going on that is fairly concentrated entirely inside of the Trump campaign, the Trump administration. That is interesting. And that definitely makes me question how much of this is just coming from the Trump campaign, or how much of it is coming from the Republican Party on the whole. We're going to have to wait and find out. That one's going to be something we learn about soon. All right, though. Some apparently crypto felt very positive about the information as well. Trump's Ethereum meme coin price hits new all-time high after post-verdict dip. And so much for Donald Trump meme coins crashing. MAGA, with the token symbol Trump and other meme coins inspired by the U.S. president, plunged in price immediately after Thursday's verdict. But the slump was short-lived. In fact, the unofficial Trump token not only regained its brief losses, but the price of the token rapidly shot up to even higher than it was before the verdict announcement, and then it kept going, rising to hit a new all-time high of $16.84 per token. Now, That was a 84% increase in a week and 274% increase in 30 days. That's pretty steep increase in terms of the value of a cryptocurrency, but I thought folks would enjoy that one. I actually do have a friend who is planning on releasing a token related to Trump at some point in time, and so I am debating letting everyone know about that when it happens, because it would be a matter of raising money for the Trump campaign, and so that may be coming up in the near future. Maybe an opportunity for members of the community to maybe make some dollars and also donate to the campaign, but we'll see. I'm hesitant when it comes to some of these meme coins ever bringing them on, but if it's for a good cause, maybe I will let them come chat with us. We will just have to see. All right, though, XRP ETF is inevitable. Ripple CEO predicts. And of course, Brad Garlinghouse, very, very vocal in the past couple of weeks. Keep in mind, Ripple just donated another $25 million to the Pro Crypto Super PAC, and that is on top of the $25 million they'd already contributed. And Brad Garlinghouse came out and said, this was actually in an article released on Tuesday, that Joe Biden was destroying his chances at re-election by being anti-crypto and pro-CBDC. Now, there's an irony to this because Ripple does provide a CBDC platform, but there's a lot to be said about the fact that Biden was shooting himself in the foot, and look at what happened now. Now, Biden is coming out trying to convince everyone that he's pro-crypto. It seems as if it has become a bigger issue than people realized. It seems as if Biden thought he could just kind of scoot it all under the rug. He could pass bills that destroyed our future and nobody would pay attention. And now it seems as if he is having to do an immense amount of backtracking to try and resolve that mishap. All right, though, I know everybody is excited to see that face. Bitcoin bubble no more. Billionaires are catching up to crypto FOMO. What prompted billionaire investors like George Soros, Mark Cuban, and others to change their stance on Bitcoin and dive into the crypto markets? So this is another one. This article is out there for people to share. I'm not going to dive through all of it, but it talks about the timelines that these billionaires and millionaires have gone through before they started to adopt crypto. And so I absolutely am fearful of the fact that I'm trying to think of a name right off the top of my head rather than even have to say the devil's name. It's kind of like remember Lord Voldemort and Harry Potter, but you're not allowed to say it. He who shall not be named. He who shall not be named. That's kind of what he feels like to me. But yes, we are seeing billionaires all around, and that includes George Soros. That is another thing that I do not believe to just be a matter of coincidence, where we're even beginning to see these separate faces, these separate sides of the coin are starting to all fall in line. The lines are starting to be drawn. We're starting to be able to see who is pro-authoritarianism, pro-centralized government, pro-centralized control, and who is not. Everybody's starting to get, at least where we can see it. We're no longer having to play as much of a guessing game. Of course, with George Soros, we all knew whose team he was on, and I assume him and Satan have been buddies for a very, very long time. But with other people, it's been a lot harder. And now we're starting to actually see these things in clear evidence, not while having to do an immense amount of speculation. We're not having to do deep dives. They're just showing up and telling us now. All right, though. Elon Musk counsels Trump on crypto in sign of billionaires' sway. And here is another one that I wanted people to be able to share and get out there, because there are so many that respect the word and opinion of Elon Musk to a huge degree. There, and many more respect Donald Trump, but he is another factor out there, and his endorsement, his support for the Trump administration and team would be absolutely huge. It seems as if he's already given it, but the conversation inside of this article is that there are talks between Elon Musk and the Trump campaign and the Trump and the Trump administration in terms of Elon Musk coming on in some form of a role as a counselor or advisor in relation to AI, crypto, and technology. To me, of course, I would want Elon Musk to be there and be inside of the room giving his opinion. And while I don't think they would always get along the best, I do think they would make quite the dynamic duo in regards to the industry. Two different sides of the coin in terms of the way that they understand things. Cannot imagine a better team up than Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Well, and as we see, more and more of this indication of where crypto is going. New York Stock Exchange would consider crypto trading if regulatory picture were clearer. President says at Consensus 2024. This is becoming something where you don't really have to look all that hard each day. Each day, there is another governmental group, another major financial group, major corporation, every single day that is making the decision to move over to blockchain technology. This is not going to slow down. It's not going to change. It's going to keep going on. And it's going to hit a point where those that haven't made the switch are going to start to get left behind. And that it's going to be something that everyone is going to have to evolve with in terms of the corporate sector. And now we're beginning to see more and more and more. And yes, at some point in time, we will see a stock exchange that is actually just blockchain technology. I have no doubt it will occur. It's only a matter of time. And for those that are not aware, Consensus 2024 is actually a convention that's held each year in regards to a bunch of different crypto really pioneers that they get together, financial pioneers, traditional financial pioneers. And when they do, they come together to talk about what the future is going to look like. And so for this year, it has primarily been the tokenization of assets. It's been the politicization. That word seems very difficult. The increased influence of crypto in politics and stable coins. That's what people have been talking about. Primarily, it's a matter of tokenizing assets and the idea of central bank digital currencies that are stable coins. And that is also a major indicator of where the market is going. Keep in mind, tokenized assets are the future. And when I say tokenized assets, I'm saying tokenized gold. I'm saying tokenized silver. Talking about real world assets. Everything from your house to your gold to your silver to your car to your debt to anything you can imagine. If you can think it up, they're going to put it on a blockchain. All right. This is a warning for everyone to keep in mind. We had talked about this one before. Mt. Gox. This was a group of people who have on paper been millionaires for years. They are finally going to get their money in the coming months. What's going to happen? Is it going to be a massive dump? Is it going to be a bloodbath for Bitcoin? Where are they going to put their money at? It is a question that many, many analysts are trying to figure out. I think it's one where our community probably has a better understanding than any financial analyst ever could, because I have got to believe there are a lot of folks that have been waiting a very, very long time, knowing that they're going to have more money in the future. They just don't have it right now. And what are you thinking about? How are you planning for that? And how do you think you will react in the moment? We're about to get a crash course in how and these are very, very intelligent people. These are extremely intelligent people. They were buying Bitcoin and crypto when no one else was. And they were making those purchases. So these are not uneducated. They are not people that are not aware. They have spent years, most likely, studying what they're going to do with this wealth. And now it's about to happen. I think everyone should be keeping an eye on this. It's like a case study. It's an opportunity for you to learn from other people's mistakes rather than learning from your own. And I pray for them and hope for them that they do good things with the money. I believe that they will do far better than the average, but I still believe many of them are going to go out and that money will be gone in a year. I believe many of these Mt. Gox purchasers, Bitcoin purchasers, the people that lost their BTC on Mt. Gox, I believe many of them will blow that money so fast it will absolutely make your head spin. But I don't think it'll be all of them. And so I'm very, very curious. And I think this is going to be a story that I'm going to try to keep up with every time I see an article, because I think there's a lot to be looked into here and there's a lot to be learned from them. Oh, this was just for fun. So guess what AI is doing now? According to one Mrs. Mariana Mazzucato, the ugly truth behind ChatGPT, AI is guzzling resources at planet-eating rates. And so, of course, AI is now destroying the planet. For everyone that is worried about artificial intelligence, I doubt this was the reason you were worrying. I'm a little bit more worried about it hacking into, the nuclear silos, or maybe it I don't know, hacking in and destroying our financial future if we don't change to a better system soon. Those are things I was worried about. Mariana here, she's just really worried about how AI is going to destroy the planet in the form of carbon emissions. So I'm going to include this link down there for everyone that would like to laugh at someone who has apparently not got the memo. She is worrying about probably the least worrisome part of artificial intelligence I can imagine. Of all the things that I would say that I'm worried about in terms of AI, that has got to be somewhere around, 2000th spot on the list. All right, though. One last one for everyone. This is one where I assume I might be about to get in trouble for even putting it on the screen, so I'm going to avoid some of the words. But a guy hacked the new ChatGPT 4.0 model, and now it has absolutely no problem with putting out deep fakes, with creating instruction manuals for a multitude of different things. And so a hacker named Pliny the Prompter, and so he specializes in prompting the AI, has managed to jailbreak GPT 4.0. Please use responsibly and enjoy, they said, while releasing screenshots of the chatbot giving advice on cooking math, hot wiring cars, and detailed instructions on how to make fire with household items. The God mode hack uses leet speak, which replaces letters with numbers, in order to trick the GPT 4.0 into ignoring its safety guardrails. Now, this has apparently been resolved by OpenAI, and so no worries. Most likely, people are not capable of asking the artificial intelligence at the moment how to do anything particularly awful. But this is something to really keep in mind, guys. This was just a human. A human figured this out. A hacker named Pliny the Prompter managed to convince the AI to give him extremely, extremely dangerous information only by changing the way that he structured the language to a matter of numbers and letters. That is something to keep in mind as we move forward, that there could be very dangerous things that could come out of AI if we're not careful. Weezer58, I am absolutely praying for you with your knee replacement. I hope that it is going well. I hope that it is going well in terms of the preparation and your mindset towards it. I know that it is going to work out, and I hope I hope that you know that as well. And so thank you, Weezer, for tuning in today. And also know that everyone is going to be keeping an eye on you as much as they possibly can. So expect a lot of extra calls and messages. If you disappear for an hour or two, you're going to wake up to 100 phone calls. I promise you, Weezer. So please have a speedy recovery. And I guarantee there will be many, many thousands of people praying for your recovery. Absolutely. Healing energy. Absolutely. Oh, and Richard Gregory, in response to everyone in terms of their Mount Gox money, cash it all out. They might. They might. I think some will. All right. Our final message here to everyone. An article, OpenAI says Russia and China used its artificial intelligence in covert campaigns. And so this is the AI that I utilize. They are claiming that Russia and China have been utilizing this artificial intelligence in order to perform covert actions across the world. Iran and an Israeli company also exploited the tools in online influence efforts, but none gained much traction, an OpenAI report said. This is all a part of the things we're going to be hearing about a lot. All of it is. And it's a particularly good sign, though, for the state of Russia and China's AI development. It means they are probably behind us, but it's something for us to keep in mind, guys. We're going to be looking at a world where blockchain technology and artificial intelligence are going to have immense impacts on our daily lives, on our work, on especially the farther out you look in terms of generations, the worse it's going to get in terms of how these technologies, specifically AI in terms of the workplace, are going to be affecting their lives. And it's not going to take long. I would guarantee, and this is something that I had never thought about, and it just came to my head, but a child born today, most likely will not have a chance at a white collar job ever in their lives. There will never be a need in their lifetime. A child born today on May 31st, in 18 years from today, and we're going to assume 18 years, and they're looking to go into the workforce. Although we know, who knows what college will look like then. Although maybe there won't even be a college, because why would you bother going if you don't need to learn? Because the AI knows it all. Who knows? But it's a scary prospect to imagine that the kids of today will never even have an opportunity. Not with AI and the way that things are currently going. They will not only never own anything, they will always rent, and they will always be happy, I suppose, if you trust the WEF. But they will also have an extremely difficult time finding any degree of work that a human's qualified to do. And so with all of that positive news and that unexpected, I had never thought about that from the perspective of someone who is, 5 years old. What their life would look like. I'd never considered that one. I'm certain that's going to keep me awake at night tonight. But thank you guys all for tuning in today. It is so deeply appreciated. And I am going to be getting that Trump song over to Pops. I know you're going to be seeing a very similar thumbnail to the one that I made for mine, because I made that thumbnail actually while we were live and sent it to him earlier today. And so expect to see another kangaroo-filled courtroom, but I imagine you might also be hearing that song play for a second time. And so thank you guys, as always. Cannot wait. I am planning on doing another stream either with Pops or on other channels throughout this weekend. I really don't want to stop trying to spread the news and information. And so if you can, if you have the desire, if you have the time, please do share these videos, specifically the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday video of this week, and or any of the ones from the original Mark Z, like the one this morning where we discussed it. And that is just because it is a very much underappreciated narrative to the entire story. We need people to be awake. We need them to realize that their money is more important to these people in power than their lives are. It's messed up. It's not how we think, but it's how they think. And so we have to think about it that way also. So thank you guys so much. And I will see you at 7 p.m. I will just be watching, but I will see you over there on the original Mark Z. Bye, guys.